But, we've got to talk some more about this Mueller report, the principal conclusions of which came out last weekend. So they've been out a little over a week now that we've known about them. And I'll tell you, all last week, I don't know if you guys heard it, but watching the news and stuff, I tell you, almost to a one, the news media was saying, well, there's President Trump out there spiking the football. Did you hear that phrasing last week? Spiking the football in the end zone? You didn't hear that, Pat George?
Oh, no.
Okay, I heard that a bunch last week. So I thought that was, there's one of their talking points, that people are spiking the football in the end zone. But, excuse me, we've just gone through 2 years of a completely fabricated witch hunt that, the mainstream media was essentially breathless during the last 2 years. They couldn't even catch their breath. They were so up in arms about this witch hunt. And how true it was, and how there must have been some kind of Russian collusion or Russian conspiracy. So pardon me for now, after 2 years of nonsense, if we want to just talk about the truth for a couple of weeks, I don't think that's spiking the football. Something's got to be said. We've had 2 years of lies. Can't we get a couple of weeks of truth? Can't we talk about it for a couple of weeks and talk about what really happened here?
This is beyond a follow-up to a story. This is, you've been reporting the story this one particular way, and now we found out it's not that way.
Right. And dribs and drabs of information have come out. So, within the last 2 months, we've learned, because Doug Collins was good enough to just simply publish the testimony, which is Lisa Page's closed-door testimony up on Capitol Hill to Congress. But we've learned that what we thought about that text message talking about the insurance policy, that everything that you thought about that was exactly right, that this Russia investigation was the insurance policy. Lisa Page says that. So we now know exactly what was going on with these people. And for 2 years, they've kind of done the whole, wink, wink, nah. They've played coy. Oh, sorry, we can't talk about that. That's part of an ongoing investigation, et cetera, et cetera. And now when we finally find out the truth, we say, wait a minute. You guys have been lying to us for years. They go, wait, what are you doing? Move on. Time to move on. It's time to move on. New story. Quit spiking the football. And if you want to know how serious this is, I want you to listen to this, because this is something that John Brennan was just, John Brennan, former CIA director, former chief of station in Saudi Arabia. Some question whether he's a Muslim or not. We've had stories on that before. But leaving that part aside, one thing I know for sure that he was gung-ho anti-Trump, and he was gung-ho all about this collusion stuff. Now, I want to play something. This is less than a month ago. Okay, today's April Fool's Day, but this is no joke. Less than a month ago, this is John Brennan on, I believe it's Lawrence O'Donnell, Last Word on MSNBC. Now, this is March 5th, 2019. Let's hear what he says about the indictments that are about to come down the pike.
I think Robert Mueller wants to be able to conclude his work and turn over the investigative threads to the Southern District of New York, the Eastern District of Virginia, and other jurisdictions as appropriate, as we're coming up to 2 years. So I think he does want to conclude that. I wouldn't be surprised if, for example, this week on Friday, not knowing anything about it, but Friday is the day that the grand jury indictments come down. And also this Friday is better than next Friday, because next Friday is the 15th of March, which is the Ides of March. And I don't think Robert Mueller will want to have that dramatic flair of the Ides of March when he is going to be delivering what I think are going to be his indictments, the final indictments, as well as the report that he gives to the Attorney General.
So John Brennan says he really doesn't, he doesn't have any special knowledge, right, except for that he basically helped to start this investigation. He's the former CIA director, and he kind of goes around claiming that he's got some kind of special knowledge or special access, unless you put him on the spot and you ask him. But I'll tell you, the media just let him run wild. This is less than a month ago, and if you want to watch the full interview, you can go out there and find it. He's talking about there being indictments of the Trump family coming down, and that they're going to be March 8th, right? March 8th. But we know there were no indictments whatsoever. Now, let's listen to the way that Lawrence O'Donnell treats him, because this is the way the media handled this whole story. And I want you to hear this. There's a definite bolstering of John Brennan's story. So let's hear it.
So, again, I don't have any inside knowledge. I'm not talking with anybody in special counsel.
Yes, you do. You have the inside knowledge.
But not about the status of the investigation right now.
Yeah.
But I do think also if anybody from the Trump family, an extended family, is going to be indicted, it would be in the final act of Mueller's investigation, because Bob Mueller and I think his team knows that if he were to do something, indicting a Trump family member, or if he were to go forward with indictment on criminal conspiracy involving U.S. persons, that would basically be the death knell of the special counsel's office, because I don't believe that Donald Trump would allow Bob Mueller to continue in the aftermath of those types of actions.
That's just all made up. It's all made up. And here you've got one of the lead anchors on the station, Lawrence O'Donnell, saying you do have special knowledge, Mr. Brennan. You do have insider information. You do know what you're talking about. But what's the truth, folks? He didn't, and he didn't, and he didn't. We'll be right back. Thank you for listening to the Morgan Streetman Show. We hope you enjoyed what you heard, and if you did, please click like and subscribe to help us out. And remember that we recommend that you exercise your brain at least once a week.